there, welcome to Sarah Grace Cookie Co. I'm Sarah Grace, and here I teach people to create beautiful decorated sugar cookies and how to earn extra income with a home-based cookie business. You can learn more about my Pay What You Can course, The Cookie Classroom, and find inspiration, encouragement, and education about royal icing sugar cookie decorating at sarahgracecookie.co.com. If you enjoyed the video you see today, I'd love it if you would hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you never miss another cookie decorating video. Hey y'all, welcome back. Today I've got this fun set of garden cookies just to give you some cookie ideas for spring as you're kind of moving into that warmer weather season. I am all about gardening. I enjoy getting out in my garden every year, planting some flowers, growing some pretty things. Of course, y'all already know this about me. But this cookie set, if I'm being totally honest, is not my favorite that I've ever done. And I'm hoping that as you watch, you can at least have a giggle with me about some of the things that went wrong. And I can share some of the things that I might have done differently, or just maybe some tips that can be helpful for you. I think they turned out okay in the end, but the process was a little bit challenging. I'm not gonna lie. So first things first, let me tell you about this Band-Aid on my finger as I'm decorating. So it was Easter weekend, or the week leading up to Easter, and my kids were on spring break. So we decided we were going to take the boys fishing at a local park. They had this special fishing day, and we went and got them some sunglasses at Target, which, you know, you go fishing, you need sunglasses. And I asked Kane to hand me his pocket knife while he was going to run in Walmart and get some more tackle stuff for the fishing expedition. And I was going to open up the sunglasses and take all the tags and everything off with his pocket knife because they were like the thick, like zip tie kind of tied on tags. Well, he had just given me the big talk about be very careful. I just put a new blade in this knife. It's very sharp. Be super careful with it. Cut away from yourself. I was like, I know. You don't have to baby me. Anyway. About 4.5 seconds later, I'm calling him once he's in the Walmart going, listen, this is the call of shame. I have cut my finger. I need you to bring me a Band-Aid. It wasn't too bad in the scheme of things. It didn't ruin our fishing day, but it did kind of mess up the aesthetic of my cookie video. And that made me sad because although it didn't hurt that bad, it did throw off my color scheme and my hands didn't look pretty. There was food coloring all over them. So oh, it was just a whole thing. So anyway, I'm getting started on this seed packet cookie. The goal with this was to make it look like kind of an old-fashioned seed packet. And I'll put in a picture of my inspiration for this. It's from Pinterest. I found these cute little seed packets, and I just love seed packets in the springtime. It's just like they symbolize hope. But anyway, I used white flood consistency icing. If you want to learn how to make great flood consistency icing, head to the Consistency Confidence class. It's free. It's going to help you master that consistency and be able to do that consistently without thinking about it. It will become second nature. That's how we get this beautiful flowy icing that's able to spread all across the cookie. Once that was dry, I used some stiff consistency icing, or sometimes I call that straight out of the mixer. And I made some little flower petals and a little leaf type stem thing. I was trying to make it look fancy, but it ended up looking like a S, and I just was not a fan. I made it too curvy. I got too crazy with it. Anyway, I was out of edible markers. I have some edible markers that I absolutely love. They're the Bakerpan brand from Amazon, and I'll link those in the description below. But I was out of those, so I had to just use black icing to do this writing, and it didn't turn out like I wanted it to, but I thought it was still cute in the end. You know, it made a cute cookie. The next cookie I worked on is this pretty little blooming branch cookie. The background is meant to be a sky type background, and the branch is meant to look like a tulip tree. My granny has this beautiful pink tulip tree in her yard that I love, and anytime I go down to like in the edge of Alabama where we do our grocery shopping and our just go into town, there are a lot of tulip trees blooming this time of year, and I think they're so pretty. So I use this pretty blue color to do that base flood. And then I use some thicker consistency icing in this tipless piping bag to create the branch. And once again, this was a flower piping tip with that pink and orange mixed. I have some information about the tips down below. And if you ever wonder what I'm using or how I'm using it specifically, you can look in the description underneath the video. You can also go on sarahgracecookieco.com where I post blogs about each of these cookie sets and find everything that I utilize to create these. So, funnily enough, with these cookies, I thought they were looking okay. We had finally started to recover because there were a lot of mishaps with getting these flooded. I just didn't have things in the way that I wanted them to be. My camera died midway through filming, so my icing sat overnight. And of course, these aren't going to be consumed by anybody. These are just for decoration. So it was okay that the icing sat for a while. But it just wasn't the consistency I wanted it to be after it sat for a long time. And the next day, I had my cookies in the oven just kind of to store them and keep them out of the way while I was working on my video and doing other things. Kane goes to put something in the oven the next day, and of course, I hadn't told him that there were cookies in the oven. So he turned the oven on, and when we pulled them out, thankfully, the worst thing that had happened was just a little bit of butter bleed around the edges. So if that looks like some pretty dimension around the edge of that cookie, it's a butter bleed, but it's okay. Thankfully, these weren't for a client, so I didn't have to remake them or anything, but it was just comical, all the things that went on in this second video of me coming back to making cookie videos. The next cookie I did was this little heart with rows of plants. Now, one of my favorite memories growing up is when my mom had a garden and she would break up the ground for the garden with the tiller, and then I would walk out across that dirt barefooted. It's just the best feeling. If you're a garden girly or you have grown up near a garden, you know what I'm talking about. That cool dirt on your feet, there's just something about it. And when you see those seeds start sprouting or you plant those fresh new plants and see those begin to grow, it's just one of the best parts of spring. So I wanted to kind of pay homage to just the love that we have of dirt around here and the love that we have of dirt I had growing up. And I just decorated it with some pretty flowers because I had lots of flower icing and a cookie to put it on. I was not crazy about these little rosettes. They turned out in the end. I really liked the little pink poppies with the dots in the middle, but the little purple rosettes just, I didn't feel like were my best work. I thought I was going to try something new with those, and they just weren't how I wanted them to be. I think if I'd have used a couple different colors to create some dimension, they would have turned out better, but overall, it's still a cute cookie. You know, you put them all together and they look a lot cuter than just one individually. The next cookie is a cute little basket with a background. Oh, it was just so cute and so fun. I loved how this one ended up turning out. I did not think it was going to turn out okay. As you can see, there's like some fall over on the edges where my icing consistency just wasn't right because again, it sat overnight and just became a different consistency. But I divided this circle cookie in half, and this just goes to show you a simple circle cookie, just something plain and kind of, you know, not really a fancy cookie cutter, can make a really cute cookie. It's all in how you decorate it. Getting creative with those basic shapes is so fun. But I divided this into a dark green lower half and a light blue upper half. I already had that light blue from the branch cookie. So I flooded it with that, and then I went on top of that and did some little cloud shapes by just dipping a palette knife into my stiff consistency white icing. As soon as I got done making the icing, I just dipped a knife in there and started kind of dabbing the white icing onto the cookie to create those little cloud shapes, and I was kind of sparing with it, but I thought those turned out really cute. Then I did the basket and the flowers inside the basket, had to do some cute little teardrop shapes. And I used the Tipless piping bag to create these little grass leaf type shapes. I just cut a very, very small triangle at the end of my Tipless piping bag. I think I've shown how to do this in a previous video about flower cookie decorating, but you just flatten out the end of that Tipless piping bag, cut a V shape with the point of the V going out away from you if you're holding the piping bag. That way it creates a little triangle and you can just squeeze and pull up and create those adorable little leaf shapes. I just did those in clusters around. I didn't want to cover the whole cookie in those shapes because I was afraid that texture would compete with the texture of the basket. So we just did little clusters here and there. Now, the watering can is probably my favorite of all of these cookies. I feel like it just was the redeeming quality of this set. I thought it turned out really cute. But with the same kind of principle of using a basic shape, a very simple, easy heart-shaped cookie cutter. After the cookies were finished and they were all dry and ready to photograph, I grabbed a few things from around the house. I had this green moss from my last video. You probably recognize these little yellow sprouts and greenery and things. I just put a few of those in the shot with the cookies to kind of stage them. And then I pulled out my camera to go ahead and take some pictures. I use the Canon T8i camera, and I've been using that one for 2 to 3 years now for all my photos as well as my videos. I love it because I can take my short form and long form videos on this. I can use it to take gorgeous pictures of my cookies like this one, and I can use it to actually film those really high quality videos, especially today in this age of video marketing when everyone's needing TikToks and photo content. This is just a really good, versatile camera, and I love that since I'm honestly not anywhere near a professional photographer, I can see kind of what the picture's going to look like before it's all said and done. And that little piece flips in and out so I can see myself while I'm filming as well. My favorite part about this camera though is the Camera Connect app that it comes with. And I can use this to use my phone to take self-portraits. And then I pull everything over into the Lightroom app from my camera. And I can actually do all this from my phone, which is great because if I need to go get the boys from school, I can pull all these pictures that I take onto my phone and use the Lightroom app. So that's really handy, and it saves me a little bit of time. One of the good things about Lightroom, the software, is that I can edit my photo how I want it to look. And when I get those settings just right and how I want them, then I can go through all my pictures and just start copying and pasting those same settings. And it makes editing photos and making them look so pretty and crisp and professional so fast and so easy. So if you're interested in this camera or the software that I use, I've placed the link down in the description below. It is a bit of an investment for this camera, but speaking personally as someone who really doesn't like to spend money, this camera has been so well worth the investment to me, and I would buy it again in a heartbeat. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe and click the notification bell.